is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Yeah, I brought that up yesterday with Poupart that I think you got to corner him like they did with Saban. When Len Martez and Dave Hyde cornered Saban about that, you have to. And, you know, yesterday, I got to say, let's get into a little bit about the Tua talk yesterday, because it was one of those situations that kind of bothers you. You know what I'm saying? And when he's asked about, you know, should they come out and, you know, automatically say, hey, we're not interested, right? And that's the part that you would like for them to say if you're really not interested. But obviously they really can't do that. But I think they got to corner them. But he's asked about it. And again, the guy is just an absolute champ. He really is.
For opponents like we have right now, the Bills. So.
All right, here we go.
Would you want the team to come out and say something to extinguish that fire so you don't have to hear about it from anyone?
Well, for me, I don't have control over any of that, you know. For me, I'm just focused on the guys in the building, you know, with my teammates. I mean, we don't really have time as professionals, I would say, to be thinking of a lot of the outside noise, you know, while we're preparing, you know, day in and day out for opponents like we have right now, the Bills. So.
Tell you, it just, he is a pro's pro. And to be able to handle, and I told you my story, and to me, it's, I can really relate to it a lot. Obviously, two different jobs, obviously, but it's got to be incredibly hard for him that they don't believe in you, they don't want you, they're trying to replace you, and then meanwhile, they need you to go out there and sacrifice behind a terrible team, and sacrifice your body and your ribs and the hip that you have surgically repaired, and they're only using you just for a moment to get rid of you. And in the end, you know that if this trade happens to fall through or fail, whether it's now or in the offseason, they'll go out and get somebody else because they've already shown that they're not happy with you. And to me, none of this makes any sense, I got to say. This young man has not been given a chance to actually succeed or fail. There's no way you can make an assessment on him to say that he's going to be a failure or even a success. Now, those of us can take a guess and say, yeah, he can be a success in this league. No, he's never going to be anything in this league. We can all guess, but there's no proof either way. And I've watched him actually make something out of nothing. And to me, that's a sign of a good quarterback, is the guy that can make chicken salad out of chicken shit at times. But he's not going to be able to carry you because there's no such thing as that. You know, Marino couldn't do that for you. He could help you. He could elevate you. He can help you win games, but he wasn't going to tackle for you, and he wasn't going to run the ball for you. So if you couldn't do the other things, then he can't complete the job for you. He can only do so much. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like right now I'm watching Duper and Clayton out there. Even Dan had Duper and Clayton, okay? Jalen Waddle's a nice player, but he's no Duper and Clayton right now. Maybe in a couple years he can turn into those kind of guys. But, you know, Clayton, to me, was the second best receiver in the NFL in his heyday behind Jerry Rice. Because Jerry's always going to be the GOAT. And at least for me, I still haven't seen a better receiver in the history of the NFL, in my history of the NFL, than Jerry Rice. But for a short time, Mark Clayton was the second best receiver in the league. He was a monster. And I got to tell you, that's I don't see that kid playing with that. You know what I mean? I don't see a Richmond Webb and I don't see a Keith Sims on this line. So these are things that you've got to give him something. You got to try to create something here to help. And whether it's a defense, a running game, an offensive line, more consistent weapons, all these. Right now, the only thing he can count on is Gesicki and Waddle. That's it. And with those guys, he can only work in a certain amount of time because he can't wait for, slow developing plays with that offensive line. This guy has not been given what he needs to work. He has not been given the environment he needs to succeed. He is not provided with the coaches that he needs to succeed. And in fact, I think Deshaun Watson will be a failure here also. He'll put up some numbers, but he'll fail in the same kind of environment. No one is going to succeed in this environment. So unless this environment improves on the talent level, on the chemistry level, on the coaching level, I don't know where we get to where all of us want us to see the Dolphins, which is lifting that Vince Lombardi trophy. Because, man, I'm 55. I'm just asking for one more, man. I'm not asking you to go on a Patriot run and go win 5 or 6 or 3 or of course I would love a dynasty, but I'm not asking for a dynasty. I'm just asking for one more. One more before I check out. So I have no idea when I'm checking out. But I'd like to experience one Super Bowl. Would be really, really nice. But in this environment, there's no way. You're light years away from being a Super Bowl team right now, the way what we're watching right now at 1-6. It's a crime, actually, what's gone on with Tua. So he's asked if he thinks about the Watson trade, if it goes through his mind. Let's hear from Tua.
Tua, you do a good job of compartmentalizing and blocking out all the trade stuff the last couple of weeks. Probably there are a lot of Dolphin fans out there, and media members in this room too, who wonder on a daily basis who will be the Dolphins quarterback a week from now, you or Watson. Just from a human nature standpoint, does that thought ever come into your mind? Do you think about it daily? Do you think about it ever?
I really don't think about it. The only time I'm really hearing about it, like I've said before, is, sorry, Ann, that I have to bring it up, but, if Ann's kind of telling me about what's going on within the rumors, or, if my agent, calls me, that's really when I hear it. Other than that, I don't really hear it. So.
Would Chris Cabot or Lee Steinberg call you every time they see a rumor to tell you, or do they just let you find it out on your own?
No, it needs to be, it can't be just like a rumor that's just, I hear it once, and you're calling me because, I'm not going to pick up the next 5 or 6 times. So, it has to be very much relatable.
That tells you right there that conversation has already happened and that situation has already happened. He wouldn't tell you if he didn't experience it already, because he wouldn't have experienced the calls of the anticipation of just these rumors. So he's done both with Steinberg and company. That's the life he lives. That, the coach is coaching you, but he doesn't give a shit about you. And it's like it's only human nature, man. Only human nature. That's what he's got to live with every day. And don't give me this shit about, you got to be a professional. Screw that, dude. His next play could be his last play for a team that doesn't give a shit about him. You try doing that. You go to a job where you're risking your health for people that don't care about you, that are looking to replace you while you're there sacrificing. Because he is sacrificing. Playing behind that line, you're sacrificing. You just Think about that. And obviously, Lee Steinberg has heard the rumors, and he's kept his client, aware of what's going on. Because it's going to get back to Steinberg, dude. He's been in this business for 40 years. He's had the biggest quarterbacks as his clients in the history of this league. I don't think anybody's had a more extraordinary list of quarterbacks than Lee Steinberg. Tom Condon's the other one, but Steinberg probably is number one if I start to put it down. Condon's pretty close, but I'm going to go with Steinberg number one. He's got Mahomes also, by the way. This guy doesn't mess around. He's gonna know about stuff that's going on around the league the second it starts happening. And he's gonna keep his client informed and everything going on. That's the shit that Tua's got to live with. And then when it comes to being wanted, that's another one.
All the outside noise, but then also the internal conversations, it seems like you've had. Do you feel wanted in this organization?
I don't not feel wanted. That's what I could say.
A minute ago, you mentioned you don't focus.
By the way, kudos to David Furones, who is never afraid to ask a tough and uncomfortable question. Kudos to him.